best-selling SUV of all time, the Ford Explorer. Well, this is the 6th generation version of it, and a very important vehicle for Ford because it's one of the cash cows of the company. Now, this particular version of the Explorer is all new for 2020, but the launch has been riddled with controversy. So many controversies. Well, if you're a shopper looking for a 7-passenger SUV or a Ford investor, you want to know the story of this rig. So here's the scoop. The launch of the 2020 Explorer was a complete catastrophe, botched from stem to stern, and it cost this guy his job. This is Joe Hendricks. He was head of Ford's global operations and a former Ford of Canada president and CEO. Well, he's a very capable guy, very smart, but the mess that this vehicle created when it was launched in the summer of 2019, well, Ford asked him to retire. Sure, they asked him to retire, or something like that. For the last 6 to 8 months, Ford has been fixing the Explorer to make it something, well, consumers will want to buy. So here's what happened. There have been a raft of recalls for the Explorer and its high-end sibling, the Lincoln Aviator. The Detroit Free Press cites chronic manufacturing issues. Apparently, Ford lost control of quality control. I agree with LMC forecaster Jeff Schuster, one of the best in the business, and he told the Detroit News the design here in the Explorer is great and it's loaded with terrific content. The problem is, a faulty launch damages credibility and worries consumers. So here's what you need to know. Ford raced to fix the problems. I mean, after all, the Explorer is a franchise vehicle like the Mustang or the F-Series pickup. Where are we now? Well, Ford and its dealers, they promised to treat Explorer buyers like gold. There is a lot to recommend with the Explorer. I mean, after all, this is not the front drive, all-wheel drive crossover of before, the one that this model replaces. The 2020 Explorer has a new rear drive architecture with available all-wheel drive. And the all-wheel drive version is only sold in Canada. This design makes for a lower center of gravity. It's more stable, and the front to rear weight distribution is car-like. It's a nice rig to drive. So it drives beautifully. For a 7-seater, it's mostly a gem, and I'll get to the flaws shortly. But the starting price is what grabbed my eye, $46,000. And at that price, I'd expect nothing less than pure excellence. So what drives this new Explorer? Well, you have 2 gas-powered engine choices available in 3 tuning configurations. And all Explorers come with various 10-speed automatic transmission setups. The base XLT, which I've spent the most time in, has a Turbo 4, a small one. The Turbo 4-banger jumps to life quickly, and it's powerful enough. The 10-speed automatic transmission is solid with smooth shifts and quicker downshifts at higher speeds. But at lower speeds, the shifting is jerky. The ride is stable but firm. The steering responds quickly, and cornering is better than the Palisade and the Telluride. But from the get-go, you know you've got a smallish Turbo 4 under the hood. It's raspy and noisy when pushed. Ford also offers a 3-liter twin-turbo V6. It needs premium fuel. There is a hybrid powertrain planned. And then there's the Explorer ST, the racy V6 version, tuned to 400 horsepower. The suspension is also firmer and more responsive, and a 10-speed automatic transmission is lifted from the Mustang GT. This Explorer is aimed at high-performance SUVs like Jeep's Grand Cherokee Trackhawk. Of course, you have a new body. There's this new front end with the rounded grille here, the big headlights, the broad shoulders as you go backward, and the angular tailgate with the all-LED, very bright taillights at the rear. It's a nice-looking package. Inside, there's a lot of black material. The second and third row seats are spacious and easy enough to move around and reconfigure. The Sync 3 system is among the better infotainment systems on the market today. It quickly boots up. There are big buttons and large on-screen text. All of it's pretty easy to master. I really like the driving position here. The steering wheel is nice and meaty. It adjusts all sorts of different ways. For taller drivers, you're really sitting in a very comfortable space, one of the better in the SUV class. Unfortunately, the cabin's fit and finish isn't particularly impressive. In fact, the interior feels a bit cheap and plasticky, especially at this price. With all Explorers, you get a suite of safety and convenience technologies known here as Co-Pilot 360. Some details here need fixing. The third row headrests are quite large and cannot be dropped remotely. You have all sorts of choices in 7-seat SUVs, a lot of choice, and this Explorer is not among the least expensive. You should definitely test drive the Palisade, the Telluride, Honda Pilot, and even Subaru's Ascent before you write a check for this or any of the others. He talks about, what did he talk about again? Ford comes to life quickly enough, but this is mostly,